Good morning. Welcome to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. Really glad to have you here this morning. Today, Jamie's back from her vacation. Jamie, right?
Yeah, I am back.
Did you have a great time?
It was lovely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Staying in Lewis Center, Ohio?
Yeah, it was
Yeah?
It was a staycation.
It's a resort area, right?
Yes.
Don't people go there from all over the world?
Yeah, we got to visit the Nationwide Children's Urgent Care.
Yeah?
And
Wow, yeah, I didn't know you had those special things
I mean, it
planned.
was quite the trip.
Okay.
Really, highly recommend it.
All right. Well, today we are talking about remodeling like we talk about every Sunday morning. So if you're just tuning in, this is a show that really concentrates on residential remodeling, and we are the largest design-build residential remodeler in the Columbus area, have been for a number of years. We really appreciate the city of Columbus for supporting us and giving us all those homes to work in, because that's what we love to do, right, Jamie?
Absolutely.
So if anyone ever wants to reach us, you can email us at info@davefox.com. Of course, you can always go to our main website, which is davefox.com. And to hear this show or any previously broadcast shows, you can go to davefoxradio.com. There you can find all of our previously broadcast shows. Jamie puts them all up there in order and categorizes them.
Yeah, you can kind of glance through there. Any of the ones with a video would have a little indication on the little clip there, and you can watch us.
Yep.
See our glowing faces while we talk, and sometimes we'll include some extra visuals with those too.
Yeah, which I think this show we need to do that because we're talking about the project that we've worked on.
Yeah, so we'll definitely include some pictures on there.
Yeah, so
follow along.
If Jamie doesn't do a good job of describing a picturesque scene, and you need to see it graphically, then you can go to the video and see them there.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Jamie, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about the project we're talking about today?
Sure. So today we're going to be talking about doing a project spotlight on a project that we recently completed in New Albany. It was a first floor remodel and rework of the floor plan a little bit. These homeowners had a formal dining room that they didn't utilize and wanted to gain a pantry as well as a mudroom. And kind of reuse that space. And that's actually a project, the reason why I thought this would be a good one to talk about today is that's actually something we've been getting a lot of requests for, is kind of getting rid of that formal space and reworking the plan and reusing that square footage for more functional space, whether that be a home office or a mudroom, pantry, wine room, bourbon lounge, all sorts of different uses instead of that formal kind of entertaining space that's not as utilized anymore today. Do you have a formal dining room?
Yeah.
You do? Do you guys use it?
Yeah, my wife Linda does use it for special occasions. Like she had some of the ladies from the neighborhood over for breakfast the other day. So she loves to set up a beautiful table and, just looks like
I can only imagine.
Magazine. She just loves doing that.
I know. Linda's
and
so
of course,
good at that
she always
stuff.
cooks all this food. She spends the whole day before preparing. And these ladies came, and she said they came and they thought, well, oh gosh, we just thought we were having cereal or something. But she just loves doing that. So she does use the room whenever there's a special occasion. How about
I
you
had
guys?
a feeling you still utilize that room. We turned our formal dining room into a bourbon lounge.
Yeah.
Years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. And then once the pandemic hit, it also was a home office.
Okay.
Which is, an interesting concept, bourbon lounge office. That's a new one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we kind of have dual use in that room, but it gets utilized a lot. And we love kind of just hanging in there whenever we have friends over, opposed to more of a formal setting, especially since we have little kids.
Sure.
A sit-down dinner isn't something that happens very often.
Yeah.
At least not a relaxing one. But it's still such great functional space. So we're glad we kind of repurposed it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times people say the formal dining room is the most expensive room in the house because it's only used once a year, right?
Exactly.
Or twice a year.
I know. But yeah, we've done this kind of concept of reworking that formal dining room into specifically a mudroom and pantry in several jobs over the last, I would say 2 years, really. It's really kind of gained in popularity. We get a lot of requests for that, especially when the home such as this one, also has a home office. There's
Yeah.
kind of that additional space.
Yeah.
This home also happened to have a large morning room for an eat-in kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a beautiful room. It's got a lot of windows. And so having that secondary dining space that could hold a big table, big enough for entertaining, they didn't quite need the formal dining room. That, quite frankly, probably would hold a smaller table even. So it worked out well.
Yep. Well, let's face it, times change and lifestyles change. And if you go back, it's, in periods of time, the floor plans were all different. And if we go way back, it was all small compartmentalized spaces, and then the big wide open spaces, and now it's more of a combination. So things change, and that's what keeps us remodelers in business. People need to update their home or their floor plan, and we do both.
Yeah.
So as we talk about this kitchen today, if someone's listening, maybe you're not ready to do a kitchen or something, but really there's a lot of things that we'll talk about that can be beneficial, I think, to all of our listeners. We talk about layouts, structural issues, finishes that we put in there, lighting, all that kind of stuff. So stay with us, and I think you'll all learn something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so where do we want to start on this project, Jamie?
Well, I thought I would start by just kind of walking through the as-built plan, kind of how
Okay.
the plan started, and then we can move into some of the conversations that were had and what we ended up changing. So when you walked into this house in New Albany, really there was kind of a grand foyer, a 2-story foyer with a staircase wrapping up. And then to your left, there was a den or office, and to the right was the formal dining room. If you walked straight, you would walk kind of down a little bit of a hallway and past the stairs to the basement. And one thing that I thought was kind of interesting is a lot of times in a home, the basement stairs are drywalled on all sides with a door. In this house, that was different in that both sides of the staircase were actually open with a railing, and there was no door. So it was a very open flow basement kind of situation there. And then continue walking back, and to the left was your family room, and then to the right was a relatively small U-shaped kitchen. It really kind of was cut off in the space. It made a small entrance in between going from the family room into the morning room that they used as their eat-in kitchen. The morning room, however, was a very large space, has windows on all 3 sides, kind of bumped out the back of the house, and really had a wonderful view and setting and great natural light.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing was there was a soffit that dropped down and columns that came down, separating the morning room and the kitchen. And then the U-shaped kitchen kind of into the family room had a bar height counter.
Yeah.
So they felt like very separate rooms.
Yeah. It's something like that makes a real strong statement that you're in that's a different space.
Different space,
Yeah.
exactly. And no matter what you do when you're entertaining, where do you end up?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. And this one was small and not ready for that.
Yeah.
So it definitely led to a great kind of bones for a remodel in this space. Behind the kitchen was the laundry room and the entrance from the garage, where there was a little bit of open space and just a small coat closet. So the structure and the space was all there, just with some reworking. There was actually a lot of square footage. Once you take everything out and you look at it on plan, you realize how much space there really was to work with, which was great.
Yeah. That is amazing. And one of the great benefits of remodeling is, as I mentioned, floor plans and styles and the way we live changes over time. So we can take a floor plan. A lot of times there's space to reconfigure to really bring a floor plan up to date to today's standards and to what people want to use with their families and their lifestyles. So this is a great example that we didn't have to add more space. We rearranged it and made a profound difference. So hang in there with us today as we talk about this New Albany kitchen and all the different changes that we made. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. We're really glad that you're listening in today about our New Albany kitchen remodel. And this is, as we were talking right before the break, Jamie, a classic example of how we can take existing space, reconfigure it, and make a profound difference in bringing the floor plan up to date. And in this case, we've got that nice sunroom that the house is opened into, but it was very much differentiated the way the kitchen layout was before, so you felt like it was two different spaces. So I'll let you take it from there and talk about how we made it that change.
Yeah, some other things I want to mention in the floor plan that was existing. There were some nuances to this space. I think a lot of times a U kitchen can be very functional for the work triangle, depending on how it's laid out and what's around it. But in this case, one thing that was really challenging is the refrigerator was actually kind of across from the U of the kitchen. So really everything else, the oven, the microwave, the sink, dishwasher, all the counter space was on one side and all within that U, while the refrigerator was right across from it. And there was a little too much space to make it really functional. So when you took things, there's a lot of walking. And when you took things out of the refrigerator, you had to be able to carry whatever you were taking out of the refrigerator because there was nowhere to put it. So that was definitely another kind of pain point in this kitchen beyond just the visual of the kitchen and the layout was the actual functionality of it. It was a little too spread out.
Yeah. Well, if the owner wore an Apple Watch, she would sure get her steps in every day, wouldn't she?
That's right. She would definitely get her steps in because that is a big triangle. So that was another kind of area to really rework in the plan as well, as some other kind of nuances. So one of the things that we did that was a really big wish list item was get rid of those columns that were in the kitchen, separating the kitchen from the morning room. And in order to do that, we put in a large beam kind of spanning that area. And it's funny because now being in this industry and seeing us do that a lot, I always wonder when they built these homes, why didn't they just put in a beam? I mean, is there that much extra cost involved when they're building?
Well, I think it really goes back to just what people were used to at the time.
Yeah.
So this would have been a very common layout. How old is this house?
My guess is 90s.
90s, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, U-shaped kitchen, and this would have been a very appropriate plan for that time. So they would have thought it was normal and the thing to do.
Yeah.
Where
it's
today,
just so
I
funny
think
to me.
we just get smarter about the spaces we live in and how we feel about them and what we can see. So with the beautiful view out the back, bringing that into the kitchen area so that it is part of it, and feels like part of it, makes such a difference in just how you feel about being in the space and what you can see. So it's things like that I think just over time we learn to do some techniques that take more advantage of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. It's so every time I see that in a plan, I'm like, why wouldn't they built it this way? Why would,
Well, they didn't know of any other way to do it.
Well,
it was just perfectly fine back then.
Well, anyways, that was definitely a big change in the plan was to be able to do that. And then, of course, instead of the U-shaped kitchen, doing more of technically a galley-style kitchen where you have that really big island, which was allowed then the kitchen to not only open up to the morning room, but also to the family room. So now it's all kind of one cohesive living space. You can walk all the way around the island, into the morning room, into the family room, back into the kitchen, and keep walking in circles if you want to. But the thing that's so nice about that plan is, especially when you think of entertaining, your entertaining space is no longer, everyone hovering around that small bar area between the family room and kitchen, but now it's really a kind of cohesive environment where there might be some people hanging out in the morning room, there might be some in the family room, or some on all four sides of the kitchen island. And it's just a much more enjoyable space.
Yeah.
It's funny, when I was talking with the homeowner, when I was there for the photo shoot, this kitchen feels so much like it was the kitchen that was meant for this home. And it's just such a funny feeling because it's not the way it was built, but it feels so much more at home there.
Yeah.
And she said, it's funny you say that because whenever we have a friend over that didn't get to see the before kitchen, they can't wrap their head around how it was. She says we always have to bring out pictures because they just can't wrap their head around why would they have done that? It's the my same question. Why would they put the columns in?
As you're talking, and I've mentioned this before on the radio shows, that the feeling you get when you're in a space, it's going to be good or it's going to be uncomfortable or a little disturbing. And most people can't really put their finger on why.
Yeah.
I mean, as a professional designer, you can evaluate these things, and like we did in this layout, what we ended up with felt right for the home. Mm-hmm. And when you're in the space, you feel good about it. And maybe you can't articulate why you do, but you just do. And I think there's a lot to that. And somebody might be listening right now where maybe in their kitchen they think, well, my gosh, I have everything I need. Why don't I feel right about this space? Or your bathroom or your family room, whatever. And you just know that when you walk in that room, it's just, you feel like something needs to be done, but maybe you don't know what needs to be done. And that's where I think getting a good designer in to just make a few changes, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, but making a few floor plan changes and really bring the house up to today's lifestyle standards can make such a difference in how you feel about the space. And as you mentioned, when your friends walk in, they feel the same way too. They get that good vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another big change that we made in this space was the one wall that was the railing to the basement stairs. It was really, you would think it made the house feel more open, but in a way it made it feel kind of, you weren't sure where to go. Did you go down there? Did you not go down there? You know, it was like this kind of odd feeling of, is that supposed to be part of where I'm living right now, or is it not? And it kind of made you feel a little uncomfortable, like you said, and you couldn't quite put your finger on why. But by closing that wall in and drywalling that wall, the basement stairs are still open. There's still no door. But by putting drywall on that one wall and getting rid of the railing, we not only were able to add a lot more function to the kitchen, it's now a coffee bar with cabinets below and floating shelves above, but it just kind of defines the space. It makes it feel more grounded. It makes it really establish that this is the living space of the home, and the rest is kind of more private areas of the home. And it just kind of defined the space. And I think toddlers to grownups, everybody likes boundaries, you know, in every way, and in the visual way, in the feeling, and in literal ways as well. Everybody prefers boundaries and guidelines. Yeah,
because there's times when especially if we have a really wide open space, we want some delineation. We want to see some difference and kind of designate areas differently.
Yeah.
So it's important, you know, it works both ways. Sometimes you don't want that to happen. Sometimes you do want it to happen. And there's a lot of different ways to accomplish that. It can be in a change in floor covering, wall paint colors, you know, adding some columns sometimes, decorative columns, just to give you that feeling of separation when you want it. So, yeah, just it works both ways.
Yeah. Another thing, too, that was a nice kind of bonus of doing that is it used to be when you walked in the front door, you could see straight into the kitchen, essentially, or especially how the kitchen is now, which in some ways is nice, but in most ways, if your kitchen's a mess, you don't want every person that opens your front door to see right into your kitchen.
Exactly.
So it also kind of gave that privacy to the kitchen space. So if you did just finish, you know, making a big breakfast or entertaining or anything like that, and someone comes to the door, you don't need to worry about all the dishes in your sink or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the private part of your home.
It's just like we were talking about powder rooms the other day and in design, and you don't want when the door's open to be staring at a toilet in the powder room that all the guests use, and it's on the first floor, and when you have company, everybody's right there. And that's the way mine used to be, and then Andrea, our designer, you know, had me change that, and it makes a big difference.
It sure does.
So you're listening to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. I'm Gary Demas, and Jamie Broslavsky's with me, and we're talking about a really nice kitchen remodel and kind of a first floor layout change in the New Albany area. So we got more to talk about right after this break. So today we are talking about a nice New Albany kitchen remodel, and you're listening to the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. We're really glad you're here. I know a lot of you listen often, and some of you may be just tuning in right now. In case you are, then we're here every Sunday morning at 8. We're always talking about remodeling and interesting topics having to do with residential remodeling in the home. Sometimes we get into outdoor stuff and landscaping a little bit, right, Jamie?
Yep.
Not that we're any good at that, but we usually get somebody on here that knows what they're talking about.
We know people that know people
That's right.
that know something.
That's right. So if any of our listeners ever have any questions or comments for us, we invite you to email us, info@davefox.com. It's info@davefox.com, and our main website is davefox.com. There we've got tons of information, pictures, processes. If you ever want to know how much a remodel costs, how long it takes, some pictures of, you want to get inspiration ideas, that's the place to go.
Yeah, definitely. And even, projects like this that we're talking about today, you can go on, we have almost all the pictures on our website. You can view the full project and see the before picture, see the plans, kind of see that change that happened. And it's really nice to be able to look through it that way. So often, especially I remember at trade shows, it's been a minute since we've worked at a trade show, but everyone would walk by and look at our pretty pictures and say, but my house doesn't look like that. It's like, it's not supposed to yet. We haven't been there yet. And so seeing those before pictures are really helpful to, everyone thinks, but my house couldn't look like that. My house couldn't do that. And yes, it sure can. A lot of these homes, you wouldn't believe the before pictures and things like that. But
that's what makes it so fun. I mean, we get to change people's lives.
Yeah, we're little magicians.
The house that they live in every day. Yeah, so Jamie's put together a great website. There's a ton of pictures on there. I mean, lots of pictures. So if you haven't been there, go to davefox.com and take a look. Maybe you'll get inspired to call us and do a kitchen, bath, breezeway.
Yeah.
Breezeway, that's an old term.
Yeah.
Do you even know what a breezeway is, Jamie?
That connects your garage to your house,
yeah.
right?
Okay. So that goes way back. I don't know where that came from, but we could put a breezeway on if they want.
I actually think they're really pretty.
Yeah.
Especially when there's windows.
There we go. Maybe we'll get some more call for breezeways.
There you go.
Or basements, room additions, anything.
All right.
So today we're talking about a kitchen project and some first floor layout changes that really enhanced this New Albany home and brought it up to today's lifestyle standards. It was built probably in the early 90s, right, Jamie?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. And so we reconfigured the kitchen. It used to be the old U-shaped kitchen, which would trap you.
Yes.
You'd be trapped in that kitchen. And if you have a lot of company over when you're entertaining, you're stuck in there and everybody is in your way and you can't get anything done.
Yeah. The other thing that's funny about this particular U is that the dining table was actually on the other side of it. So you had to walk all the way around the U every time you wanted to set something at the table. So could you imagine setting dinner out? Talk about this. This house was made for getting your steps in. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Now we're getting rid of all the steps.
Yep.
But yeah, just kind of moving towards in the kitchen a little bit. One thing that we actually did was there was a wall on the kind of back side of the kitchen that separated the kitchen and the laundry room. And we actually extended that wall and made it longer. And by doing so, we not only gained more space in the kitchen, but we were able to move the refrigerator. It was kind of on that far side of the space, and we moved it more into the functional space in the kitchen.
That is really an important thing to do in a kitchen layout. And there's so many kitchens that don't have it that way. The refrigerator is stuck because laying out a floor plan, it's just sometimes easier just to stick the refrigerator over another wall. There's no room for it. And a lot of houses are that way, and it's a really poor layout. Yeah,
I mean, the refrigerator is a very utilized, item in the kitchen. Yeah. It's kind of a big deal. And they're very big. Sometimes they are hard to fit in, but especially when you go, such as this one, when you get the cabinet depth refrigerators, in certain plans, it's so worth the investment. I'm not sure the percentage additional investment, but everyone's so worried about losing space by doing that. And if I've learned anything from the interior designers, it's actually the value of the shallow storage and how great that is. They put it in all the time, even in this space with the coffee bars, kind of shallow cabinets. And it's so functional. You can see everything you put in there instead of stacking stuff behind. And it's the same thing in a refrigerator. So even though it's might not technically be the same, cubic square feet or whatever, it's so functional. Every time we go to a client's house and I'm doing a photo shoot and they have that cabinet depth refrigerator, let's just peek inside and get a little jealous because, man, they're so organized and nice.
And you don't bury stuff and create science experiments.
Seriously. I mean, even in our kind of break room in our office, we do not have a cabinet depth one. And there's a lot of stuff lost in there for sure.
Yes.
There's a lot of science experiments happening.
Yes.
But in this space, it definitely was worth it because it's in that main kind of walkway between the island and the back wall of the kitchen. But yeah, kind of continuing back towards the front of the house. As I mentioned, we got rid of the formal dining room And the value of that square footage was function that they gained. They gained a lot of function. And by, again, defining the space and kind of closing off that kitchen, expanding that wall, where you walked in from the garage previously was pretty open to the kitchen and the rest of the house. So it was hard to make it a real true drop zone where you were able to just kind of throw your stuff or set your backpacks down or things like that. There was no hooks. There was no good spot to put stuff. And we have a lot of stuff, especially they have kids coming home from school and everything like that. And I can assure you, kids don't put stuff away. It's not news to anybody. But just having that small closet there, but by closing off the kitchen a little bit to that back area, really allowed them to not only have that drop zone, but then going into the formal dining room space from there, creating built-ins for a mudroom. They also did a really fun kind of damask blue tile back in the whole drop zone, mudroom, laundry room area, which now kind of flanks the whole right side of the house. It kind of goes all the way along front to back. And it's just this like functional zone that's drooling with style. And so it's such a fun concept because they have a lot of blues through the tile. And then the same blue that's on the island is also in areas of the mudroom, kind of on the back part of the hook area. And so it all ties together really nicely, and it makes the whole first floor feel very cohesive, and it's just stunning.
Absolutely. And I'll remind our listeners that as you hear Jamie describe these colors and pictures and stuff, if you go to davefoxradio.com and look on the video, this is being videotaped, so we'll have actually images on there for you.
Yeah.
Now I have a question for you, Jamie.
Sure.
Is this our third or fourth segment? I can't remember.
Third.
Okay. So we got one more action-packed segment after this one.
Yes.
All right.
More to talk about.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So do you have a mudroom in your home, a true mudroom with kind of built-ins? No.
Nope.
But you never lived in that home with your kids at home, just your grandkids for a little while.
Yeah, all 6 of them.
Yeah. So what did you do with your stuff?
Okay, well, so we have a large kind of an entry area. And
Yeah.
it was the drop zone.
The drop zone.
Yeah. So Linda had a nice carpet down there. It was hardwood floor, but she had area carpet. So they would come in and their shoes would come off and all the stuff would just get dumped there, and then they would put it away later. Whatever.
Yeah. It's the concept of the mudroom has become such a important part of.
It's huge now.
It's huge.
It's so practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my parents built the house we grew up in, and my mom she doesn't like stuff anywhere. There was never a thing out on any counter anywhere. I don't know where I get this from, but anyway, she hated that kind of thing. So we had a true mudroom, which was very unusual in, the late 80s or early 90s to have that kind of a space. But I remember I didn't know anyone else that had a mudroom back then. And
mudrooms are a big deal now. And also building some cabinet storage in there and like lockers for all the stuff that the kids bring home, their books and their book bags. Okay, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Dave Fox Home Remodeling Show. I'm Gary Demas, president of Dave Fox Design Build Remodelers. We've been around here for over 38 years, right, Jamie?
That's right.
Yep.
We're getting old.
Well, you and I haven't been here that long, but I feel like I have been.
Yeah, I bet. How many years have you been here?
Well, since 93, so however many that is.
Okay.
Do some quick math.
Yep.
Yep. It's more than 10.
Yeah.
It's more than 20. It's not.
There you go.
It's not as much as 30.
No.
Okay, but it's been fun years. Really enjoyed it.
We just recently had our longest standing employee retire.
Yeah.
Paul was here 34 years.
I think so.
I want to say. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yep. It's good people.
Yes.
We have really good people in this company. So, and what I love about a lot of the reviews and comments we get is just they talk about our people and how they just become family, and it's great.
I know.
We make a lot of friends.
It is cool. I love reading our reviews. But anyway, back to our kitchen here.
Yeah. Okay.
Focus. All right. So speaking back in the mudroom area, some of the things that we have there was a lot of hooks, cubbies, baskets for shoes, things like that. Just a true drop zone for everything that you need back there. You enter in from the garage there. And then also the laundry room, which didn't change layout at all, but we kind of updated its style to match the rest of the new space with the blue tile and just kind of cabinetry and everything like that in there. One of the other benefits, though, a big benefit of taking over the dining room and gaining that extra square footage, we were also able to put in a walk-in pantry. The previous kitchen did not have a pantry at all. So this was a huge improvement. One of my favorite things that we did in this pantry was not only just put shelving, but also add kind of a counter space and outlets. So it not only holds all of their, snack goods and things like that, pantry items, but it also has a wine fridge, the microwave, and toaster oven, which I think is genius. Love the idea of that. And they even there's some taller storage shelves as well, even above that, where they have their fruit stored and things like that. So it's a really nice way to be able to store everything without it all being on your counter all the time. So really functional space.
And again, this space was all captured from a formal dining room that wasn't getting used.
Yeah.
So it's like what you can turn that room into if you don't use it, you can turn it into something very functional, very practical.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a much better use of square footage for sure. But yeah, so some of the other fun things about this house or about this remodel that we did was they not only changed the floor plan, but like I mentioned, the blue that they added throughout the space, it not only ties it all together, but it just really freshens up the space. The house feels so much lighter and brighter and more fun, opposed to when you look at the before pictures, even it just feels darker. Yeah. The ceilings even feel lower, and it's not a space that makes you want to go hang out. This kitchen now, especially with that blue, it's called Blue Lagoon on the cabinetry, and it's just such a vibrant color, and it just inflicts joy instantly. Yeah,
because if you're right, if you look at the before and after pictures, it's like, well, I was actually came in your office.
Yes, you did.
When I saw all these pictures, and I said, Jamie, you have 2 different projects here.
I said, yeah, it's a before and an after.
That's right. So I scratched my head and looked the floor plan over. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, I know. And the crazy thing is it's not even, sometimes it's really hard to tell on the before and after pictures when we've done a bump out. It can make it really challenging to see that change just in the pictures. But in this one, we didn't even move any walls, and it's hard to see the change because it's that dramatic just by changing the shape of that kitchen and closing in the basement staircase. But yeah, this was a fun change, a really fun change. And you can tell even just being there for the photo shoot, and it had only been done maybe a couple weeks by the time I got there to take pictures, but you can tell already how much they feel more at home in the space, this space. Yeah. So it's just cool. But yeah, some of the other features that this kitchen has is it not only has, the Wolf Sub-Zero oven, but it also has a secondary oven as well, kind of tucked away, hidden in the island, which is really a nice feature. And before they just kind of had a slide-in range. So this is a good additional item that they were able to gain with kind of the extra space of the new layout in the kitchen. And then the farmhouse sink, which is still really popular. People tend to really like that look. Another thing I thought was really cool that Rick, our interior designer on this project, did is the floating shelves in the coffee bar area. They were custom made, and then they also have LED strip lights kind of underneath them so that all the shelves are lit, which looks great. And then there's a wood veneer on the hood that was made from has the same stain on it. So it kind of ties it in, which is all really nice. We got those made through Kime Lumber and made to match. And then just the island is huge quartz countertop island from Conkus. That is just beautiful.
Yeah, big islands are really functional too. We have a very large island in our kitchen, And well, when the grandkids were there, I mean, they were up there doing their homework and they're drawing, coloring, who knows what. And when my wife is baking, which she loves to do and create large meals, I mean, she just has all the space to work on.
Yeah.
So like in this kitchen where the large island with the sink in it, it's just so practical. A lot of space, and you can also create a snack bar, put some bar stools there, so it can be very multi-use space.
Yeah. And this kitchen does have the sink and the island, which is a funny thing to me, but people feel very strongly about that one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
People either love it, hate it, or that's about it.
Yeah.
Are you a sink in the island person or a sink by the window?
I don't mind it. In our situation, it worked better to have the sink on the exterior wall with a nice window facing out.
Yeah.
So the floor plan before I remodeled the kitchen, there was a range in the island.
Yeah.
So we moved the range into the outer perimeter. So it's just a whole huge island with nothing in it.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I only prefer the sink in the island because I have little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And if it were in the perimeter, my back would always be to everything that was going on, opposed to where I spend my life doing dishes at the sink.
Yep.
I'm facing everybody. But I definitely can understand those that hate it and don't like the dirty dishes in the middle of the island. I would love, we're working on a project now that has 2 islands, and one of them has the sink and one of them has nothing. And I think that's probably...
There you go.
That's
what
right?
you want. That's what you need, Jamie.
I know. That's the dream right there,
We'll
right?
have to blow out your walls and add an addition on there to incorporate those 2 islands.
Yeah, just a couple minor changes. Okay. I'm sure Oscar would be on board instantly.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was just a really fun project that we did and had some really cool features. Again, I love the idea of changing a floor plan and getting rid of the spaces that you don't utilize to make them spaces that become part of your every single day.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That's so cool.
There's so many floor plans that really need that help. So you folks that are living in a house like that, you need to give us a call. We send one of our designers out and help you understand how we can dramatically change your home. Last week, in case you missed that show, I was speaking with Greg Rice. He's our production supervisor, and we talked really a lot about the current things that are going on in the remodeling industry, the material prices, material availabilities. And that's kind of hitting everybody worldwide right now. And also, I want to let you know that you can go to davefoxradio.com. So if you missed part of this show or last week's show or any shows, you can go to davefoxradio.com. There you can find our previously broadcast shows. You can also find that some of them are videotaped, like today's show. So a lot of the things that Jamie's been talking about with this kitchen, and when she's describing what we did, we're going to have photos on the video that you can watch. So we really appreciate everyone tuning in this morning. We're here every Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. We love being here and educating people about remodeling and what we're doing. And we'll be back next Sunday morning at 8.